Have you spent years loving, understanding, and showing up for others while quietly abandoning yourself? Welcome to Love Me Unconditionally, your self-love masterclass. I'm Michelle S. Fondin, author of Love Me Unconditionally, a spiritual guide to self-love and inner peace, and its companion workbook. This show is here to help you build the most important relationship of your life, the relationship you have with yourself. In Season 1, we're exploring the 14 traits of unconditional self-love so you can stop chasing love outside of yourself and begin coming home to your own worth, peace, and inner wholeness. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to Love Me Unconditionally, your self-love masterclass. We are going to go through the 14 traits of unconditional self-love as outlined in my latest book, Love Me Unconditionally, a spiritual guide to self-love and inner peace. Stay with me for the next 14 weeks as we are going to do one trait each week for Season 1 of this show. And we are really going to get in touch with our inner selves in order to love ourselves more fully and completely so that our lives improve on every level, because that is what happens when you love yourself unconditionally. Now, I'd like to do a centering exercise with you, and we will do this every time we meet on this show. The centering exercise is the following. I call it a self-love check-in. You are going to check in with yourself, and this is the best way to get started on your unconditional self-love journey. Go ahead and take a deep breath where you're sitting. Relax your shoulders back, spine tall, so you can really tune into your own energy. The first question we'll ponder upon is, how are you feeling right now? There are no wrong answers to this, and there are no wrong feelings. How are you feeling right now? You might not even know. Sometimes we just go about our day not knowing quite how we're feeling. We're just putting out fires and checking off our to-do list. How are you feeling right now? The second question in the self-love check-in is, what do you need? Is there anything you need right this minute? Needs are not to be ignored. Needs will only get louder if they are ignored. So I'm not asking you at all to ignore your needs. So if you need to pause this video and use the restroom, get a glass of water, get a bite to eat, go ahead and do that. Take care of your needs first. The third question in the self-love check-in is, what do you desire? What do you want? Is there anything that you've been suppressing? Is there something that you want that you have not put on your list for today? Is there something that you've been desiring for a really long time, but maybe you have other responsibilities to take care of? You've got kids, a job, some pets, a spouse, a significant other, or a family member. And maybe for a really, really long time, you have been last on your to-do list. I'm giving you permission right now to tune into your deepest desires. What is it that you desire? Now, you don't have to do it right away, but jot it down and set an intention that you are going to do your best to fulfill your deepest desires. We are going to get started with the first trait of unconditional self-love. The first trait of unconditional self-love is I am whole in body, mind, emotions, soul, and spirit. That might be a tall order for you right now, and you might not even know what that means. And that's okay, because I'm going to explain it to you. It might seem like a tall order. I'm whole? What does that even mean? How do I know if I am whole? Is that even an attainable goal? And we can get as close to wholeness as we choose. You can get as close to wholeness as you choose. Now, we can't possibly love ourselves unconditionally until we've reached the point at which we accept every part of ourselves. Body, mind, emotions, personality, intellect, soul, spirit, our environment, meshing with the world at large. Because every single part of the world is our extended body. What does that even mean? We don't live in isolation as humans. As humans, we are interrelated, we are interdependent, and we are also interdependent on all the other living things and even non-living things on the planet. Now, this might sound like a lofty dream. It might also sound like a lot of new age mumbo jumbo. I know you might be thinking that. But in reality, every ancient philosophy on the planet has written something about this. My background is in the study of Vedanta, ancient Indian texts, and also Zen Buddhism. Now, when we consider Vedanta and the 8 limbs of yoga, for example, a lot of you might be yoga practitioners out there. When we consider Vedanta and something like a yoga practice from a philosophical standpoint, yoga means union. And what does union mean? It's exactly what this first trait of unconditional self-love talks about. I am whole. I am integrated. Body, mind, emotions, personality, intellect, ego, soul, spirit. Now I keep adding things to the mix because as humans, we're multidimensional. We're not one-sided. We're not just this body. We're not just this mind. Although sometimes we might be inclined to think, I'm just the body. When my body perishes, there I go. Or I'm just this mind. The smarter I get, the better I will be, right? Sometimes we equate it with ego desires. Now, those are not bad. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Those are not bad in and of themselves. It's just that sometimes they bump into or get in the way of other people's desires. So Vedanta speaks about this. Many ancient philosophies speak about this. We're talking about a couple of things here. The first thing we're talking about is congruence and balance. When you feel whole in body, mind, soul, spirit, we'll shorten it again. When you feel whole in all the aspects of yourself and you accept each part of yourself, you are congruent, meaning there is no disparity, there is no lack of resonance with another part of you. Most people live in dissonance with themselves. They're incongruent. What does this mean? Many people don't accept their bodies. Now, that doesn't mean you wouldn't have the desire to change for the better. You can certainly accept your body where it is And then moving forward, have goals for your future body. Many people don't accept their minds. How do I know this? Have you ever had negative self-talk ever in your whole life? I would guess that you've had some negative self-talk in your life. That is a dissonance with who you are, right? Again, that doesn't mean that you don't want to change what's going on in your mind and your thoughts, but it does mean starting by accepting yourself where you are. The same goes for your ego. You might want to be more selfless, be more empathetic, compassionate, helping other people a little bit more, but you need to accept yourself where you are at. And also, I explain in the program, Love Me Unconditionally, that having needs, wants, desires may seem egoic, but they're necessary for you to live a healthy, happy life. Some people might ignore their soul, the fact that they have a soul, the fact that they have something non-physical as a part of them that is connected to everything else that is. Some people might deny that completely. And again, that is dissonance, incongruence with who you are. Another way of putting this is, have you ever met someone who does not walk their talk? I'm sure you have, as I have as well. And maybe you've even done it, right? Where you've made a promise to someone or even yourself and you haven't followed through. I know that happens every January 1st in the Western world with people who celebrate New Year's on January 1st, that they make New Year's resolutions. They have all these aspirations for the new year. And then by January 10th, half of those, if not all of those, have gone way out the door. Because we all have good intentions, but we may not walk our talk. We may not follow through. That is dissonance. That is incongruence. So when you're working on becoming whole in body, mind, emotions, soul, spirit, what you're working on is making sure each part of you knows what the other is doing and is in agreement with what the other parts of you are doing. The first part of this is obviously balance, right? And the balance piece is, I'm not only this body that perishes when I die. I'm not only this intellect who has to learn a lot of book smarts in order to feel worthy in this world. I'm not only a spiritual soul who may do all the good deeds and do all of the good works. I'm not only those things. These are roles that I play. These are parts of me, but not a singular part identifies who I am as a holistic being. And when you can accept all the parts of you and work so that each and every part of you is congruent, you start to feel better about yourself. You start to feel much better about yourself. Because when you are in harmony with yourself and you are in balance with yourself, loving yourself unconditionally comes easy. It's the dissonance that messes us up big time. I know a lot of people who have health problems, or a lot of people that have weight problems, as an example, who say verbally, I love myself, I accept myself. They might say this outwardly to people, to the public. When inside they're really suffering, their emotions are suffering, their mind is suffering, they're very much suffering. They're not okay with their bodies, they're not okay with their health. They're not okay with the way they look or the way they feel in their body. They're just saying that. And so a lot of the cause of suffering in that case is the dissonance. So it's not what other people are saying about you. It's not what other people are doing in your life that are making you miserable and unhappy. It's about what you are doing to you. In the same way, let's take another example. In the same way, if you have a really good job and you never went to college, and the people around you all went to college, and you feel inadequate because you didn't go to college and all the other people around you went to college, when it comes time for a promotion, for getting a better position, or maybe even leaving that particular company or job and moving to a higher company or job, you might be feeling inadequate. You might be feeling unworthy. You might not feel as good as you think the other people feel based on your education or lack thereof. So there's an incongruence. So you might be saying, I'm the boss. If you're the boss, you're the manager. I'm the boss. You all have to listen to what I say. But on the inside, you're still feeling inadequate. That is an example of incongruence. Okay? So when you're feeling congruent, it does not matter what anybody else says to you, how they treat you. Now, you always set up boundaries. We're going to talk about that in some of the other traits. But it doesn't matter what other people are saying about you when you are whole within yourself and you know that you're congruent. You know that every single piece of you is working together in synchronous harmony. When you know that, you are bothered by a lot less. And your love bank account for yourself goes way up. And I know it's hard to believe right now if you've been feeling bad about yourself or you have a lot of anxiety, you have depression, maybe your mental well-being is not as optimal as you would have hoped, or maybe you just have other problems, physical problems, maybe you have problems in your relationships. So you might be sitting there in front of me here saying, I don't really believe that. I don't believe that if I love every part of me and I bring all the pieces together and I'm living in wholeness, that all of my problems will go away. I'm not going to say that all of your problems will go away, but it will be the start of something very good, because it takes wholeness and integration for you to be able to love yourself unconditionally. Think of yourself as a family unit. A family unit that has a mom and a dad and maybe 4 children. Let's start with that. And if you are a mom or a dad and you have 4 children, you might say to those 4 children, I love all my children equally. And as you love all your children equally, you form this cohesive family unit if you also love your spouse. The truth of the matter is, because of different personality types, you might prefer one child over another. But the fact of the matter is, you still love all your children. You still love the family unit. And when you can acknowledge that we love each other, we are a family, we may not be perfect, but we work together as a whole, you know for a fact that when you state this and you mean it, that everything in your family works so much better, even if you do have preferences. Now let's take this to your body, mind, emotions, personality, intellect, soul ego, spirit, anything you want to put in there of all the layers that make up you. There might be one aspect of yourself that you prefer, right? Maybe you're very spiritual, and for you, you prefer studying spiritual scripture, meditating, prayer, doing yoga, going to a spiritual place to worship or meditate. And that's an aspect of yourself that you really, really appreciate. That's great. But you also need to accept every other part of yourself to make it a whole. So that is the first trait of unconditional self-love. In the next episode, we will go on to the second trait, which is I am my own best friend. I love this one. Thank you for joining me here today for Love Me Unconditionally, your self-love masterclass. I'm Michelle Fondin, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Love Me Unconditionally, your self-love masterclass. Before you go, take a moment to reflect. How does this trait show up in my life right now? Where am I already practicing it? And where am I being invited to love myself more deeply? If this teaching resonated with you, you can explore the full self-love journey in my book, Love Me Unconditionally, a spiritual guide to self-love and inner peace, and the companion workbook. You can find them at lovemeunconditionally.com. And if you'd like to continue this 14-week journey with me, subscribe, click the bell, and join me for the next trait of unconditional self-love. Much love to you, and I'll see you in the next video.